I don't know if you guys had anything specific in mind, but something we've never really talked a lot about is reputation management.
We have not talked a lot about that.
I
Also,
can't even remember really having like a dedicated episode to Repman.
I think the only time it's come up is in our conversations about ethics in digital marketing, because you'll have the occasional opportunity to do reputation management for someone or a
Oh
company
yeah.
who deserves the reputation that they have. And so then it's that dilemma of
Oh yeah. I
should we
like
be
that.
doing this or not? I guess it's one angle that we've touched on, but we've never had a dedicated conversation to like the strategy of
Well, let me
reputation
ask you
management.
this. Let me ask you this. As a service, do you guys provide, I mean, besides the SEO portion, which I know you guys work on, like cleaning up SERPs and helping companies put their best foot forward from a search engine standpoint, but what about from a reviews standpoint? Is that a service that you guys provide?
Yeah, but we just work with um, partners like Podium to
And
do a lot of
so
that.
do companies come to you and say, hey, I need help with my reviews. Can you help me? Or is that something that you guys proactively recognize in your audits and you're like, you guys need to work on your online reviews?
So we have this thing called a CXR, which is a customer experience review. And part of it, so basically the point of the customer experience review is to go through as though we are the customer. So we look at all the competitors. We sign up for email newsletters. We go through your entire checkout process, and we're looking for like weird hitches and things that like don't make sense, or places where people might get stuck. We're also looking at, based on the landscape, how does that client sit? Like, are they way off in left field where everyone else is over here? But part of that research is we will go into reviews. And so we'll look at like, what are the bad reviews? What are the positive reviews? And then we'll kind of aggregate the information from that. And we'll use that information to write better landing pages. So in that process, we will say like, hey, you guys have just a ton of bad reviews. We gotta fix this. So anyway, long answer is yes, we will recommend that. But it's not something that we immediately go straight to in terms of like a solution. It's kind of when we see it as a need.
I guess what I'm digging for is an angle here, and I'm not sure I'm finding an angle that is interesting enough to spend 20 minutes talking about. But like utilizing different platforms like Google My Business to get your reviews up, and I don't know. I think there's something there as more of kind of a workshop episode, because there's a lot of stuff in my mind that I could talk through, but I don't know if this is the right time or place.
Well, and I also think one of the misconceptions with reputation management is that it's only for companies who have a bad reputation, not necessarily taking, I think what most people should be doing is looking at it as a proactive marketing activity. What can we do to, keep building our reputation and whatnot? And with the reviews, like a company may come and say, I've got bad reviews, I got to get rid of them. That's just not reality. What you're really doing is what we need to do as a company is we need to basically overflow the bad with the good reviews. And it comes down to a lot of times like product, like, and I guess that's worthy of a discussion of, if you're a company, your reputation is suffering online, at what point is it not salvageable by marketing efforts? And it ultimately is a product or
At what
company
point
problem.
do you rebrand?
Yeah, rebrand, or like you have to take a step back and look at your actual product or service and say, okay, no marketing can get us around the fact that like this sucks and people know it. Like, I don't know. That's a tough part as a marketer to take that on. You have to look at that product and service and say, okay, at its core is, what they're doing. Is it good? Is this an actual good product type thing? Because if you take on a client or a company or go work for a company and you're in charge of reputation management and you yourself don't look at the product as anything that's worthwhile or valuable, you're going to have a miserable job or a miserable client, depending on what circumstance you're in there. And I don't think any amount of money is worth that kind of stuff. And I think there's a lot of companies like that where it's just, I mean, MLMs is a great example too, where a lot of what they do is very subjective, right? And so like, even if with great marketing, you're going to have people who have had a lot of success, both as a consumer and as a reseller, or whatever the phrase is of someone who's selling and building a downline. And then there's going to be people who have had zero success with the product as a consumer. They've had zero success building downlines from a business angle. And so it's like this steady flow of, you're always going to have angry people, but I think it's subjective enough that you could find some sort of angle of good from it, right? You could even argue that marketing for a religious or a political organization is the same, to where it comes down to subjective opinions of, well, you're always going to have people that don't like it. You're always going to have people that like it. But I don't know. I guess it's not really a specific question or topic starter, but it was just more of a
I actually, I think it is a topic starter actually. And I was on a call with a company where they were talking about how the average star rating, like barrier or threshold, changes depending on industry, because I mean, if you can imagine, not every industry has 4 or 5 star companies across the board. So solar is an example of that, right? Like the example that was used on the phone call that I was on was pediatric dentists have a different threshold than solar companies, right? Because parents are way more, they scrutinize pediatric dentists more than anything else, because they want their kids to go, 1, have a good experience, and 2, get the best care. They care more about that. So they scrutinize that. So their threshold is higher. You have to have a higher star rating in order for parents to feel comfortable taking their kids to your business. Whereas solar, the average star rating that's required is lower. The threshold is lower because all solar companies, to some extent or another, struggle with their online reputation because of whatever it is, their sales tactics, their product, their whatever. And no company really across the board in the solar industry is like above and beyond that average star rating, which is pretty low in solar, which is, I don't know, it surprised me. Maybe it's not that surprising. Anyway, so that's interesting when you talk about industry specific use cases and where that threshold is. Part of your statement was basically, as companies are doing their own assessment, what should they be aiming for? I mean, obviously we should all be aiming for the top, but realistically, that should be a part of their strategy, is aiming for that top threshold. And there are studies out there that kind of outline that. So Bright Local, for example, have some really cool insights with reviews. And you have your humdrum key findings that people always share about 97% of consumers use online reviews when looking at a local business or something like that. But they go a little bit deeper into looking at like rankings, right? You have the map pack, and it's like, if you rank number 1, number 2, or number 3, here are the average ratings that each company has. They're almost trying to break down what the ranking factors are for the map pack, which is really interesting. And while I was at Connect, I know I'm just kind of dumping stuff on you. While I was at Connect, which Connect is a software company in PG that is, I mean, they're a podium competitor. So they use text messaging to solicit reviews, and that's kind of their business model. In their own data with their own customers, they found that there are a couple of milestones, right? So this is used in their sales materials, is if you have under 50 star ratings on your account, it's going to be hard for you to stand out. I mean, if just below 50, once you hit 50, that's like the first main milestone. And that's not even including what the rating is. That's just the number of reviews. And the next milestone is 150. If you're past 150, That's where the real magic happens as far as number of reviews. Anyway, again, I know we're kind of like now we're committed. I feel we're committed to this topic.
I have a question for reviews.
Hold on. I want to know how often in your experience, I guess in your limited experience in solar so far, do you see mudslinging, basically low reviews from other companies? Because that's one difference I see in solar compared to pediatric dentistry is it seems like it's way more potentially cutthroat. And I could see other companies kind of stuffing their competitors with bad reviews.
Meaning like the competitors are coming to our review sites and leaving negative reviews?
Yeah, fake negative reviews.
Yeah. I haven't seen that. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. And I to be honest, I haven't really looked for that. I don't even know how you would know that the competition is leaving the negative reviews without like searching
And you could
their
just
profile.
spot check and see like, yeah, look at who left the review and then check your customer database to see if you ever actually did business with that person.
I haven't done that. We get, I want to say, so I actually was just looking at some Vivint Solar data about reviews, and in from March 15th to May 31st of this year, we got 247 reviews. But the previous year, during the same time period, we got 430 reviews or something like that. And the data I was looking at was actually comparing Podium, because we're a Podium competitor, but our solicitation, we moved to Salesforce Marketing Cloud. And I was comparing what Podium provided versus Marketing Cloud, and Podium's way better, so we're switching back. But with the number of reviews we're getting on average a few a day, right? Every day, more and more are coming in. So doing a spot check like that, I just need to grab like a sample size or whatever and just go dig in. But I have not done that. You're right that it is more cutthroat. And I mean, it's way more of a commitment, right? People have way higher expectations in solar because in a lot of cases, they're committing to 20 or 30 years of paying for this service. And if they're locked into an account like that, they can't get out really, right? Yeah. Whereas a pediatric dentist, you have a negative experience. You're like, okay, next time I'm going to go to this guy over here, or this girl over here. And so, yeah, you're right. There are differences. And my point with that was just every industry has their own threshold, and solar's threshold, it was actually bestcompany.com. Have you guys ever worked with Best Company?
Yeah.
So they're the ones who shared that data with me, basically saying, hey, we do an analysis, and this is analysis anyone should do. If you want to know what the average star rating your industry should have before people are willing to do business with you, right? It's not always 4 stars. I think on average across all industries, it's right around that 4-star range, 3.8, something like that. But in solar, it's in the high 2s, like 2.8. If you have an average of 2.8 stars, people are willing to do business with you. And that's because all solar industries are just terrible at maintaining their reputation.
Do you feel like that's an indictment of the solar industry in general?
I do.
Whether or not one should buy solar?
Not necessarily buy solar. I'm actually getting more and more sold on solar. Solar's in fact, it's like most businesses. When I was at Smart Home, there were times when I was really discouraged by the low star rate. Like I would just read the negatives and I'd be like, holy cow, this is like a terrible company. But they have 1.5 million customers. And when we got better at soliciting reviews from the happy customers, it made me realize that like 80 to 90% of customers are really satisfied. They're just not the ones leaving reviews. So which is another interesting point with the ratio, right? Online reputation typically attracts negativity, and that's what you're combating is the people who are unhappy. Now you should make them happy, right? And Brandon mentioned flooding the market with positive reviews to kind of drown out the negative. But he also talked about probably a more important part, and that is actually changing your processes and customer service or whatever it takes to make people happy.
Do you guys leave reviews? Like, are you reviewers on stuff? Like, have you ever left an Amazon review on a product you've bought?
I don't think I've ever left an Amazon review.
What about like a restaurant review on like Google or Yelp?
I think the last time I left a review was for my dentist 4 years ago. And it wasn't my dentist that I left a review for. It was the hygienist, or whatever they call him now.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. That's I think that's the problem with reviews. It's my biggest beef is reviews generally attract, and I think the higher the barrier of entry, the more negative you're going to get. Because like if you buy an Amazon product and you enjoy it and it serves its purpose, it's great. You're just going to keep using the product. You're not going to be like, oh my gosh, I got to go take 10 minutes and find that link and then go back to the page and leave a review, unless you're really, really unhappy with it. And you've got to let people know that, I just bought a product to convert VHS tapes, and I tried to go a cheaper route, bought a $30 product, and it was complete garbage. And I was so frustrated because it was not anywhere remotely close to how it was advertised. And even with that anger, I did think I've got to get on there. I've got to leave a review, and I've got to let other people know to not do this. Buy the $80 solution. It's much, much better. But even that, I couldn't get the actual effort to like take the time to go on to Amazon and leave the review. And so I feel like the people who leave reviews are often just ginormous fans where they're just crazy and they've still got to take the time to support it, or they're just super, super pissed off. And I think with restaurants, it's similar. I think the barrier to entry to restaurants is lower just because a lot of people everyone thinks that their food opinion really matters. And it's also easy, especially like on my phone, every time I leave a restaurant, I get a pop-up from Google saying, hey, how was it? 1 to 5 stars. It was this. Oh, do you want to leave a quick comment? Like they kind of just like, they pull you right into leaving a review. And that just makes the barrier to entry very, very low. So I could be like, oh yeah, that was really good noodles, 4 stars. Yeah, sure. Here's it. Do you have a photo of it? No, I don't have a photo. Okay. Can we post this to their listing? Sure. If you don't have that, you're going to have just this polarization. It's like when I read reviews as a consumer, I try to ignore the 1 stars and the 5 stars. And I really try to look at the 3-star, 4-star kind of thing. However, I'm curious on your opinions on incentivizing customers to leave reviews. And I'm not saying here's what I'm getting at. I'm under the impression, under the understanding that incentivizing your customers to leave a review, or at least a positive review, is against the rules of every major review platform. Yet, so many businesses I interact with are always incentivizing me, whether digitally and more commonly in person, to leave a review, and I will get something in return. A free product, a discount for next time, they'll waive a fee, they'll send swag, and it's like so open sometimes. And I think, wait, you're not allowed to do this. Yet they do, and they're successful with it. So I'm not sure what your guys' opinion is. Like, are people just kind of rolling the dice and they don't care? Or am I being, in my head, too strict on the guidelines of like?
First of all, I'm blown away that surprises you.
What do you mean it surprises me? I'm surprised that people are so open about it. Like, I get
Why?
that if you're at a car dealership and you're in a one-on-one conversation with someone and you're like, hey, while I'm filling out this paperwork, if you just want to leave a review, we'll go ahead and waive the lot fee for you. That'll save you $200. Oh yeah, sure. Let me quick fill that out. All right, cool. Awesome. Yeah. We're going to go ahead and waive that fee for you. Google's never going to know about that, but I'll get emails from companies and I'll see stuff sent to me digitally where it's like, hey, did you love it? Like, leave a review, and as a thank you, we're going to do. So is there some loophole I'm not aware of because people are so openly doing it where they can easily get busted by Google?
Yeah. Okay. So I've had like 4 comments within your giant diatribe. So I'm going to stop you and say it's against the law actually to do that. Whether or not it's against the platforms, I think matters even less. The FTC guideline says they actually have a write-up, and the question is, it's about disclosing that someone was compensated for talking about your company or your product. And the question is, it's like they have an FAQ. It says, what if I get from the company, what if all I get from the company is a $1 off coupon or an entry in a sweepstakes or a contest or a product that is only worth a few dollars? Does that still have to be disclosed? It says the question you need to ask is whether knowing about that gift or incentive would affect the weight or credibility your readers give to your recommendation. If it could, then it should be disclosed. Also, even if getting one free item that's not very valuable doesn't affect your credibility, continually getting free stuff from an advertiser or multiple advertisers could suggest you expect future benefits from positive reviews. So they're talking about reviews from bloggers or
Yeah, that's like influencers.
but I don't think it legally matters. Like
Because it's the same thing,
everyone's
whether
an
it's
influencer.
yeah.
If your platform is Instagram or your platform is Google reviews, it doesn't really matter. I think legally you're open to something from the FTC if you're doing that. Whether or not they chase you, I think the chances of them going after you are very, very slim, to the point where I might actually suggest you do something like that. It is actually against the law, though.
So, fun fact, kind of a fact, not really fun either, but when I was at Dev Mountain and we were doing testimonials, we would approach students who had a great experience and got a job and say, hey, we would love for you to like share your experience, and we'll record it and everything. Our legal team said that by law, if we're going to be doing video testimonials, we have to have a disclaimer on the video that states, or somewhere very close to the video, that makes it very clear that these people are being compensated with like, it's like, I forget the exact wording, I have to look it up on their site, but basically, even though we weren't paying them anything and they were taking like time out of their own schedule to do it, because their face is out there, they could leverage that for like public attention, and they get quote unquote fame, so to speak. And so but basically it's just like they're compensated with attention. And if we did not do that, they could have a lawsuit on their hands, because that's what they were compensated with, was basically you get the opportunity to be on a video that's going to be seen by potentially millions of people. And so we're therefore required to state. So it made it look like they were like paid, but in reality, it's like, no, they were truly happy customers. But,
yeah, we learned a long time ago that the legal team at Dev Mountain is dumb.
Well, that's subjective. I'll say that.
It does
You
say
agree?
further on
You
down
agree?
that if just talking about regular online reviews and whether or not you have to disclose if you offer a free product, and it says, yes, you do. Just to be clear, it's not just talking about bloggers.
Offering a free product, that makes sense.
Offering anything in exchange for reviews against their guidelines, unless you disclose that you've done that.
See, I was just thinking about this morning, because I was looking at my inbox, and I've been flooded this last couple weeks with, for some reason, microphone companies, and they want to send me products for free, and they say, do a review. Doesn't have to be positive. We just want to send it to you as a gift, and you are welcome to do a review on it. And we've done that at not Dev Mountain. No, we did it with Kiss Sticks. I remember when they reclined on a cent floor, where we just mailed out these, products out to several influencers and just said, hey, it's just a little gift from us. You're welcome to review it. You can just use it, whatever. But we kind of planted the idea that like, you're welcome to do that. And is that a loophole? Because a lot of people do that, where it's just like, we're not paying you to do a review on it. We're just sending you this to try it out, and you're welcome to do a review. We would love for you to do a review, but you don't have to. There's no agreement. You still get this as a gift. I feel like that's a loophole.
That's still against the guidelines.
I think who cares?
I think the chances of you getting caught are so slim. It's just whether or not you want to.
I don't even think it's a matter of getting caught. Like I bet there are people who know this is happening and they just don't care. Like,
as a consumer,
no. I mean, I don't even know. Does the government agency, the FTC, have agents out there clickety clacking on their keyboard, searching for people who are breaking this law? I don't think so. I don't think there's any enforcement whatsoever. I've never heard of anyone ever.
No, there was that
getting
big
brought up on
case.
charges.
Who was it? It was like one of the Jenners or something that got busted, and they actually did get busted for it. And that's dang it, who was it? Do you remember, Brandon?
yeah, I was
No,
trying to
but
think.
it's sounding familiar.
Someone got busted for it.
Yeah.
You're right. The question is, it's the law. So whether you get caught or whether anyone cares, do you care about that? And I'm not saying you should.
you're less likely to get caught than you are speeding, which is also against the law, but most people
Sure.
don't give a crap about.
Sure. Yeah.
So in that case, then is Vivint Solar going to start incentivizing customers?
We don't need to.
Use?
You don't need to. In most cases, you don't need to incentivize. So we use what's called in the industry a pure survey, right? Which is just we send the solicitation request to everybody. We don't select the people who we think had a good experience and exclude the people who have had a bad experience. We send it to everyone, and it's triggered as soon as they're installed. It triggers a text message. It goes to their phone, regardless of their experience. And you know what? We know that in most cases, people have positive experiences. And if we solicit from everybody as a pure survey, our ratings will go up. And from a Google standpoint, Vivint Solar has a very, very good average star rating. It starts to get pulled down when you look at things like Yelp, which I freaking hate Yelp. Yelp is like the worst platform ever, period. But then there are solar specific platforms, solarreviews.com, and a bunch of other ones. Best Company has a solar, all this stuff. So no, we don't need to incentivize. There's absolutely no need. And I would argue that if you have a business that gets enough customers, right, that you don't need to incentivize. And it's most of those companies, ice cream shops, waxing salons, massage therapists. They probably get enough people that if they just asked with no incentive, they'd get enough reviews, positive reviews, that it would be totally fine for their business.
Yeah. Going back to Brandon's comment a while ago about reviews attracting the nut bars.
The nut bars? Did he use that word?
I use that word. I think it's funny to pick random local fast food joints and read the reviews. There's this Taco Bell near my house, and it has 600 reviews. It's who in their right mind takes the time to review a Taco Bell? This dude, I come in all the time for the food. They know my order when it pops up because I add pico to everything. Boom, that's it. It's what possessed you to take the time to leave that? Just that mindset is so crazy to me.
The other crazy thing to me is that there are some companies like Taco Bell and Wendy's. It does not matter how low their reviews are. Yeah. People are always going to go there.
Yeah. I mean, so there's that. And then who in their right mind is also thinking I'd like to go to Taco Bell, but let me check those reviews first.
Mm-hmm.
Who's no one's checking the reviews for Taco Bell.
I go through
other
phases
companies just don't care either.
Google does a good job at gamifying a little bit, just the whole you're a local expert, and now you're at level 2, now you're at level 3. Start doing this, and they make it so I have reviewed the Disneyland parking lot. I have a review on there saying what a fantastic lot it is. I don't know. I did it because it's just I'm bored, because the way they get, I don't know if you've ever gone through the system where you leave a review and they just keep asking you single questions. Oh, we also noticed you went here. What about this? Sure. I'm on the toilet. I got 2 more minutes. Oh, sure. And before you know it, you just left 5 full reviews. And you're just wow, what did I just do with my time there? Maybe I'm the only one, but I feel
reacting to the image of you on the toilet and saying, I got 2 more minutes.
I don't know if that was my exact thought, possibly poor wording there, but anyway, I think Google has done a fantastic job. But yeah, I mean, I guess perhaps it's a discussion for another day, and maybe we should have started here, but talking about successful ways to getting your happy customers to leave reviews. And I know that's what companies like Connect and Podium are trying to do. I feel like those are best for service-based industries, like a plumber came to your house 30 minutes later while you're still thinking about it, and you're happy that whatever is fixed, you review them. It's much, much more difficult in especially enterprise level or B2B companies like 97th Floor or a software company where it's just don't really care. It's I don't know. I think that's a tougher thing to do, and figuring out how to, because it's not, maybe you're not incentivizing them with money or whatnot and say, hey, go leave a review, but just persuading them, whatever you want to call it, to just click the link and take 5 minutes of their precious time to leave a review. That's a big ask for a lot of people.
I was hoping we could go that direction a little bit in this episode, because there are a lot of things that you can do that are very, very simple.
Well, perhaps that's part 2, which we'll talk about on Thursday, because this guy's got to wrap it up.
This guy meaning you?
Yeah. Not Paxton. I don't speak for him.
Wow. This is great.
Anyway, folks, that's today's episode. Thanks for watching.